no walls across the line. There's a rare few who think outside the box together for the crew. To break the equations, not bound to any rule. Exposing to the world the universe is all view. It takes the talent of the craftsman, it takes the mind of the fool, to make the vision realize energy and matter in a duel. To a break, to a duel. The old man Bills was running through his head. Cheryl probably got it hiding under his bed. Penny up to Annie making power for days. Don't listen to a word that the straight dope says. Mike building batteries to power a ship. Victor comes and talking math, that's the ride of spiral dip. Sean chucking plasma volts a mile long. Sheila on the video making tone trumpet prongs. Bernie breaking matter, they said it couldn't be done. And to all the people in the chat, I know you're having fun. So it's time to spend your Saturday with the dope and old man Bills.
Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Nathan, otherwise known as Old Man Bills. We got Joe here today, man. We got a cool ass show. What's going on, Joe?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy Friday.
Dude, kind of a weird show, man. We got we're doing a little bit of a deep dive into this, huh?
Yeah, I mean, maybe a little deep dive. I think it's more about connecting the dots, and I think that we should take the time to kind of explain to everybody maybe a little preface of where we're going with this, because I want it to be clear when we show the videos. So
Okay, not a problem. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Just real quick, I just want to say, Darren, good job, man. He's got a membership, man. He's all in green now.
Good deal. Thanks. Welcome aboard, Darren. Good to have you. Drop some emojis in the chat, man. Keep it up.
Right on. All right, Joe, let's go into it a little bit.
All right. So the idea here is that we've discussed numerous times just about the existence of the technology that we work on. Not only being of an potentially ancient source, but also it having been rediscovered in the modern era as well, and ultimately kind of suppressed for civilian usage or declassified usage. And even within the classified community, that some of this information may very well be so deeply compartmentalized and hidden, possibly even in the private sector, to the point where access to functioning zero-point energy systems and things that utilize zero-point energy, has become a major impossibility and probably a conspiracy theory at best, right? So I think that one of the best ways to kind of see the bigger picture as to some of the technology that the military industrial complex, the U.S. military in particular, actually has as its disposal, is to listen places and pick up information from certain places where they're not saying what they're doing or what's classified, but you're able to pick up little outlying statements, right? And then piece these things together to realize what the big picture actually looks like. So I think one of the most apparent examples, and it's something that we're going to show in a moment or two once a couple more people maybe get in here, is it was actually a clip that I first saw on Ashton Forbes this week. So credit to Ashton Forbes for bringing that up. But it was Hal Puthoff talking in 1994, and he had actually discussed something. It was my first time seeing this. It actually discussed something back then that we talk about now, which is why is this energy suppressed, right? Or why is this technology suppressed? Why can it come out? And what would it take for it to come out? It leads right back to the question that we always say, which is, well, why wasn't the radiant energy the way of the world from the very get-go from what Tesla was doing? And it came down to, well, you couldn't really meter for it. They didn't have a way to charge for it. So they needed to monetize that system. And that's exactly the reason that it was suppressed in the first place, and the same exact reason why it stays suppressed. And they go into the economic turmoil that would occur if the technology were ultimately just simply made available without the proper types of agreements being in place to avoid a world economic collapse. So that was a conversation that Puthoff had that we're going to show in a moment in 1994. Then what you're going to hear from Pudov is who some of these agreements need to be with and why. And then we're going to fast forward to today's era and look at current events that are currently going on and realize the consistencies from one and another in news that's just happened over the past week. So what the implications for that are is that these are more than soft disclosures at this point. This is implementation. So I want to be able to connect those dots, though.
So you're saying they had the tech, they perfected the tech, now they're getting other countries on board, and now we're starting to see the results of that based on what they're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not only that we have the tech, but rather we've had the tech. We've had it. We've had it, and we've had it all along. And the key to it is that nobody else does.
Oh yeah, they should have had this in line with the Manhattan Project. This should have been the very next thing that they developed.
I mean, and it's off of it's not off of the resources that we're going to show today. My understanding was that these technologies were directly developed after the Manhattan Project.
Well, that's what I mean.
They were, and they were on the verge of being commercialized in the late 1950s. But it was at that point that research went dark, and any of the stuff that you would see back in like an old Popular Mechanics magazine saying that companies were actively working on and had prototypes for and working, and they're just trying to commercialize it at the time for anti-gravity and things of that nature, and alternative propulsion systems that. And then all of a sudden it just went, it swept under the rug and you never heard about it ever again.
Well, that's why I mentioned the Demon Core, so that you understand the time reference. You also understand the field that you're dealing with, that it's a fine to be open out in the air until you close the core and set it. Then it's compressed. Now it forces it to go to a bigger field. That's the problem with it. It's a massive amount of energy, and they know it. And that's why I say it's right after that they would have done this, because now you're in compression of fields. You know it's a field. You know it's not a mass buildup of electron. It is a field that's in there, it's enclosed, it's compressed, and it causes a reaction that's not natural to anything you think it would be. You would think it would hold it in, right? Cancel it out. It doesn't. It holds it in and pushes it out. It's the understanding right there that made all of this possible.
Absolutely. And I think Michael said it in the chat, and I would have to agree with him that, after Tesla died, when they got the trunks and everything, we all know that it was handed over to Trump's uncle. Yeah. We know that Trump was an MIT electrical engineer and worked for the US government. And we know that that was definitely, it was right at the end of World War II. They were already deep into the Manhattan Project at that point, and invested in that technology in order to defeat the Germans, and then to defeat the Japanese at the time. And I think that right after that project concluded, it rolled one right into the next, if I had to guess. Yeah. So I don't know. Did you want to roll that that Al Pudov clip from 1994?
I was waiting for you.
Yeah, cool. Again, credit to Ashton Forbes on that for bringing that one up.
Right on.
Now the question is there some way to tap it efficiently? Yes.
Is the fact that you take two highly polished surfaces of metal, put them near each other, and that
right.
Like,
okay, just real quick, they're in the Kashmir effect is what they're talking about right now.
That's right. That's part of it. That's part of it.
The other is
there are some charge effects on the surfaces too.
Surface effects.
That's when they go together. You can't pull them apart. You have to do that.
Exactly. You have to do it this way.
Right.
Yeah.
And since lasers have been invented, people always have these very polished optical flats and lasers. And again, when you put them together, you can't pull them apart. You've got to bring them apart. That's partly this effect. So the question is there a way of getting it out efficiently? So far, there are three ways that are known to extract the energy in an engineering sense. The first is electromechanical, and this was published by this researcher Hughes, and he even applied for a patent called a vacuum fluctuation battery. I don't know if he got the patent, but he applied for it. His idea was, well, instead of letting the plates come together and make heat, I will charge the plates electrically. And then as they come together, they will build up strong electric field. And then you can use that field to drive current through a battery. But it's not practical, because the amount of energy you get and the difficulty in dealing with them so close, it's just not practical. But in our laboratory, we're working on two additional methods. Instead of having plates come together, you can also have a cylinder which is squeezed, or you can have wedges which are pushed together. In other words, anytime you have surfaces near each other that can control the vacuum modes, you will get this kind of pressure force.
Okay, real quick, before he goes on, I just have to say this. You don't even need the plates. You need to hold in pressure on a field with another field. And you guys, if you've ever looked at Gerald's coil and why he keeps showing you the center point of it, and why he's showing you that on his meters he can read 600 volts out of that thing when he's putting 12 volts in, please just understand the calculation there is a massive number, but he's only at probably a quarter of what that thing can do. So what's going on? He's taking one field that's on one layer of his wrap. Then he has another field on another layer of his wrap, right? But the first two are at 180 out. Now he changes direction. Now he changes direction. You're causing rotation at the same time as you're causing a field. As you cause the rotation, you get a static value because now it's starting to irritate it, right? It's in motion. It's irritating. You get a static value buildup. At each level, when you get to 1,500 layers of that right there, every static layer is now individual and will add to the multiple amount when you put the rod down the center of it. It is now this one plus this one plus this one plus this one all the way up, and it's the field that holds it in. The radiant field holds in the static field. That's the way it works. Every single layer. You no longer need the Casimir effect in two plates like this. It's compression of a field. It's just like the Manhattan Project. You're compressing fields. That's why. I'm sorry, I just had to say it because people think all the time, oh, they say plates, you got to have plates. No, plates are no longer necessary when you have compressed fields.
Right. It's virtual plates at that point.
Yeah, at that point, yeah, they hold in more energy.
Mm-hmm.
Plates saturate, they give up, they go through things, they have various metals that cause problems, but the fields are pure. And they cause that rotation, which causes the static. That's why I tell you there's a field flip in there so that you can understand part static, part magnetic, part radiant. It all works right down that line. Sorry, and then he tells you you're going to tap from the center already. So.
And so in addition to like squeezing a metal boundary, it's also possible to make a plasma, a little lightning discharge in the laboratory. Just a high-tech version of scraping your foot on the rug and touching the doorknob and getting a little spark. And it turns out that if you meet certain conditions on the density and the voltage and so on, then you can get this effect to squeeze a plasma as well as pull metal together. And so that's one of the approaches that we're looking at.
You just said it. Squeeze a plasma. There's your answer right there. When you get static and you get radiant together, you get a plasma. Hello. Genius level. He told you to put it right down the center to pull it out. It's not like these things aren't built. We already have one built. That, I mean, it really is irritating when people don't really understand this because it's, dude, it's already out there and being shown. This is not some thought think tank, write it on a board, chalkboard, looking at a classroom type of thing. This is real life. It's built, and I've seen it. So anyway, go ahead, Joe. Let's connect the dots. What do you want
Well,
first?
Well, that was that the whole thing?
That was all that I could pull, man.
Oh, I sent you a link to one that was a different part of it.
You did? You sent me to Ashton's, which I
Uh,
play, I don't think.
Scroll past that one and then go the second one after that. The one right after that. There should be 3 videos in a row, and then there's, it's the second one. It was the clip, yeah, because he said, he goes on to say that the Kashmir effect is known, and then he goes into the part that's going to connect the dots. If you
Okay,
want, I'll try to. You found it?
No, I pulled up the one you said of Ashton. I can't pull that.
Okay.
Okay. Well, let's hope they don't mind.
I think it'll be okay because I'm pretty sure he borrowed it from Ashton too. It was only posted 2 days ago, and it's got all of his comments on the bottom. I think it'll be okay.
Scientifically sound. This is not pseudoscience. The Casimir effect is a real effect. It's known to extract energy from the vacuum. Absolutely accepted by physicists. It's certainly embryonic in development, because I'm sure none of us arrived here today in an automobile powered by zero-point energy. So it is definitely early stages of R&D. When investors come to us, and we do have investors in our laboratory, we tell them it's high risk, infinite payoff. So, but it is high risk. So if you want to invest money in something that you know will make money in the next 5 years, maybe you wouldn't invest in this. But if you want to live your old age out as a trillionaire, maybe you would.
All right, so, pause it right there for a second.
Our feeling is that just the 20th century may go down in energy terms as the nuclear age. We think the 21st.
All right. So right there, he's laying down a timeline for this, right? This was in 1994. He's saying in 1994, he's like, if you're looking to make money in the next 5 or so years on this, this is not for you. But if you want to retire a trillionaire, you invest in this now. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that right away brings 94 to 2000 plus as to a point of development for the implication, for the application of what this is implying, with the 0-point energy technology. Now, the next part that he's going to go into is going to further kind of describe what the timeline looks like and what some of the triggers for the release of the technology would be. So go ahead and roll it.
Okay.
Century will be the 0-point energy age. For example, you might think that the Mideast would not like this development, even if it was okay with the refineries. But the way to overcome that is to go to the Mideast people and ask them to underwrite the new development, so that can pull the plug on their potential competition. The nuclear industry also does not have to be threatened by the development of these sources, because you can go to the nuclear industry and say, you've got your magnificent billion-dollar plant here. We're not going to bother that. What we want you to do is pull out those nasty radioactive rods and throw them away and drop in our new devices. And then you can go to the public and say, we have gotten rid of radioactive pollution and we're reducing the price to the consumer. So it could be a big win for the nuclear industry, and they can continue to use their power plants.
How about to build one yourself and put it at your home and cut off your wires to that?
I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Right here, skip the generator in the garage stage. We think, although you could, we think it would be better not to do that. I'll try to explain why. With the electric power utilities, the way you keep from threatening them is that you don't want to have everyone have one in the garage unplugged immediately, because the economic chaos would be too big. But the electric power utilities are having to meet increased capacity requirements all the time. And in the United States, they must satisfy a Clean Air Act, which is very difficult.
All right,
and so you go to the electric power industries and say, okay, as you add new units to meet increasing demand and need to meet clean air requirements, don't build more of the old kind, just add our form. Because let's face it, even if we had generators up and running, it would still be a couple of decades before you could get them all distributed around anyway. So we think you skip the generator in the garage stage, and instead you go to a TV manufacturer, you would go to a washing machine manufacturer, a dishwasher manufacturer, and say, okay, on your next new model, instead of having a plug, the plug's in the wall, have these never say die batteries in the back. And so that way, as units become obsolete, new units get introduced without plugs. And so you slowly unplug from utility companies instead of doing it all at once.
Yeah, because economically, most people are not going to go out and buy all new equipment.
That's right.
As their old equipment wears out.
That's right. So I think that's the way to approach it.
All right. So that was exactly what I was looking for. So what did he say in that? You know, he more or less said, we have the tech, but we can't do anything with this. We can't release this to the public. Why can't we release it to the public? Well, it'll create economic turmoil, right? You'll have the collapse of major infrastructure, not only in the United States, but worldwide. You'd destabilize and collapse the entire economies of the Middle East. You would render your oil reserves totally, valueless. And then on top of that, you have all of these heavy hitting players, in the energy sector in the United States and around the world that would ultimately go to crumble. So how do you prevent that type of catastrophic economic collapse? Well, like he said, you more or less would have to first make deals on the back end. And the deals you would have to make would be infrastructure, investment, from the Middle East and the oil dependent nations, the ones that the entire economy runs off of oil. That's step one. Step two is to get secondary investment from the power utility companies to have some kind of vested interest in the technology. Okay. And the third is the implementation. How do you continue to have this be a not one-time business, right? So it's like Limited State said, right? I think he was the one that said it. If you want to find the gatekeepers, you follow the dollar.
Yeah, you said that earlier. Yeah.
So, like what it kind of boils down to is, if you kind of take a good look around now at some of the stuff going on, it really spells out a lot in direct correlation with what Hal Puthoff was saying back in 1994. For starters, at the beginning of this new administration, there was a huge push and bill signed, executive action signed, allocating large sums of money to AI development. Okay. But it's not the AI development that's the relevant part to pick out of that. It was the power needs of the AI systems and the building of the power grid infrastructure to run the AI, or so they say. Okay. So that's step number one. There's a huge identification for a massive increase in the volume of energy production in the country, which large sums of money have now been allocated to. Okay. Now, the last couple parts of it have rolled out all in the last week. So if you wanted to roll the clip directly after that.
Okay, give me just a minute.
Sure.
There's so much in between here, Joe. Just give me a second.
I meant to tell you to have all this to the side. Sorry.
The one in the Middle East is the one you want?
Yep.
Okay.
Haven't seen anything like it. There's no better place to make a future or make a fortune. Well, thank you very much. And with this trip, we're adding over $1 trillion more in terms of investment into our country. And
on ammunition, training, Support, sir.
And friends of mine, people that I have a lot of respect for in the Middle East. I will be ordering the cessation of sanctions against Syria in order to give them a chance at greatness.
Okay, is that all you wanted out of there?
I mean, there's more, but I think that's adequate because now people know where we're going. So obviously, Trump went to the Middle East. He went to the United Arab Emirates. He went to Qatar, and he went to Saudi Arabia. 3 of the biggest oil producing nations in the Middle East, right? And why did he go there? Usually when we go there, we're trying to strike an oil deal. Usually that's what it is. Or just to maintain relationship with some type of neutral power in the region, right? But that's not why he went this time. Okay. He went this time in order to gain investment into our infrastructure to the tunes of multiple trillions of dollars. Okay. Over a 10-year period for unannounced reasons. But now, if you fast forward 2 days from that, I guess you don't have to roll the third clip. I think people generally would know what the third clip would be. Then he announces 3 days later the Golden Dome. Now, the Golden Dome is a missile defense system. Okay, the missile defense system is nondescript, and the only thing that he will say about it is that it's technology like nobody else in the world has. That it's light years above the technology that we gave to Israel for their Iron Dome system, that it utilizes and implements resources which we already have, and basically creates a network that would allow for almost 100% control over our domestic airspace. From any sort, whether it's drones or hypersonic missiles or ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, et cetera, multiple payloads, the whole 9 yards.
Well,
we're not shooting kinetic weapons at these to intercept them. We're not shooting Patriot missiles at them to intercept these types of targets.
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay.
Real quick, I just want to go back to the money thing. Was in order to get somebody out of oil as being their primary selling thing that they sell out of their country, you have to have them invested in something else so they can diversify. And that's exactly what Trump was doing. He was helping diversify everything from oil. Now you can decouple yourself from it and get into a new energy system.
Exactly. So this is where the connecting of the dots comes into play. Putin said it himself. You're going to have to make some kind of deal with the Middle East and get them vested in something else before you pull out the rug, or else it's going to be worldwide instability.
Yes.
So there's never been a non-oil deal with that region of the world. And why prompt it now? Why prompt it now? Because it's a major component of the ability to be able to roll out these types of systems in the end. You got
to think about it this way too. It's a good thing, Joe. It means that they're making progressive steps to stabilize the economy going into a higher tech level. So we're actually going to come out of this thing okay, maybe in the next 15, 20 years if we do it right.
Yeah, right. Well, right here, Paul says, hey guys, Orange Man was talking about his uncle today. I didn't catch it. I wish I would have, because that probably would have been somewhat just another little fragment. But the point is, and it doesn't matter whether whether you love the guy, hate the guy, or anywhere in between, and it really doesn't matter. The fact is that these are current events of things that are happening right now. These are actual things that are happening right now. And you have to ask yourself sometimes the greater question, why? And when the more you know of the backstory, and the more you could see clearly into the future. And that's really what it comes down to. And I mean, if you say it matters, Mike, I don't know that it does, because it's frankly out of anybody's control. So Like, I don't really think it matters. If you want to talk about who stands to make a buck off of it, or what the intention of it ultimately is, whether whether there's no disclosure or release of the technology, but rather they're only going to implement it for the weapon systems, and the intent isn't right or all there. That's definitely up for discussion, I suppose. But again, connect the dots. The dots lead somewhere. Follow the money. That's exactly what I was doing here. You
Yeah,
follow the money.
let me just say this. I don't talk politics on the show. For this very reason, I don't want to get decisive into who's the president, because I don't care. What I do care is when the tech comes out and how they roll it out and how they're doing it. Look, if we could do it without riots in the street, absolutely awesome. If it means by the time I'm like 90 years old, if I make it that long, I can get into a UFO and go flying around, I'm all for it. Okay. I could care less how many presidents there are and how many names they have. It doesn't really matter to me. I care about the tech. So, are we getting there? Are we making progress? Are they letting things out, letting people like Joe and I and everybody else who gets involved in this stuff, are they letting us release a little bit more? So the stuff that they would normally clamp down on, so that we'd all be able to get it all out there, so that they can start pointing to things and say, hey, they already have it. They already have it. You know what I mean? This has been discussed already. I think that's what they're doing. I think it's all a shell game. And they're just putting the pieces out there, letting the dominoes fall, and letting a few more lips be a little looser than they should be. And it's because they're about to make a switch on us.
I think that one of the dynamics that's not really explored too is the fact that the way that they kept this under wraps for so long was by privatizing all the technology in the military industrial complex, and then leaving any elected official none the wiser, more or less, of any of it. But then what they would ultimately do is every time that a new contract would come online, and they'd have to fight for these contracts, they would have to release little tidbits of the technology in the new contracts in order to give them an edge to get selected for the contract, to keep the money train coming, right? So what you end up with is all these little fragmented pieces and bits of technology within our own current known and only partially classified weapons technology, with our Air Force and the Navy being pretty much right at the forefront of that. Like, you could look into a lot of the different Navy tech, a lot of the different Air Force tech, and realize that there is elements of these systems already being introduced. And it comes to a point that every time you let out a little snippet of it, at some point in time, somebody who is below the pay grade is going to, quite frankly, say, well, hold on a second. If we have this and this that does this and that, doesn't that simply mean that we could, that we have it all? And that's when the cat's out of the bag. And now you got to kind of make good on just, the full release of the system. The fact is that even with what they were talking about with Golden Dome, they said it. We have attributes of the system in full force and play right now as we speak. It's just simply a matter of connecting the dots in the net. That way it's an impermeable, force field, more or less, that we ought to have, right?
Yeah. Let me just say this real quick, John. Sorry, I gotta say this. Okay. When the quantum nonsense gets deleted, they'll tell you the truth. Okay, look, if you haven't noticed by now, physics is restructuring. I mean, they're running in. Sabina just pulled the rug right out from them and told them they're full of it. And it's kind of hard for them. Look, they're going on to different technologies, no longer repeating the same math problems and come up with math excuses. Now the tech is right there where they're available to get to use it. Now they're able to put the math problems in the right place. Now the people are researching the right things, getting back on track. So there's a bit of restructuring going on. No longer grant for the people who do the same thing over and over again. Pray to God they take that Hadron Collider and just smash it to bits. You know what I mean? I can't stand that thing.
Yeah, that's just a super bad idea.
Yeah.
Super bad idea.
Oh my God. But yeah, I mean, look, everything's kind of changing and we're just in like the beginning stages of it. And we're starting to see little cracks in the foundation that are going to turn into huge rips after a while. Look, this is a set of dominoes that's going down, man. And we're in the forefront of it. And God, I wished in my lifetime, man, I was at the end of it so that I could see, you know what I mean, what my kids are going to see one day, because that's the reality I wanted to be in. You know what I mean? To see that tech fully played out so that we can see what's out there. I don't have a telescope making up fancy pictures of things that are not real. I want to see what's out there in space myself. So I'm sure everybody else would too. We'd all get on the party cruise, man. You know what I mean? We'll go stop by the space station, use it as a 7-Eleven, man. Use the restroom and take off to the moon, man. We're out of here.
Right. We could consider ourselves early adopters, even whether we have it or not. We're still early to adopt the idea that this is even what's going to come to fruition. I think Limited State said it a few seconds ago, like, you know, a minute or two ago, but he said, who cares whether they're ready or not? Like, I'm paraphrasing. Who cares whether or not they're ready or they're going to give it to us? It's up to us to do this, you know, like basically through them. And I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, you know, it shouldn't be on anybody else's timeline. You know, I think that it's something that is deserved by everybody. It's something that obviously everybody in this group takes very seriously and passionately, you know, and, you know, unfortunately, you know, I think the reality of it is that we all work within our own means and ability, you know, and as much as we want to be the ones to say, hey, we cracked the code, we got it out there, here it is, and it's for everybody. And now, you know, rather than Hal Puthoff's situation unfold where there's winners and losers, with winners being pretty much everybody and the losers being anybody that was tied up in the industries that are going to crumble, which would have a mass effect, by the way. But aside from that, you know, and you know, you got to look at the big picture too. I mean, honestly, industries and economies crumbling isn't a good thing. But you know, right? We all do win out of that circumstance when you could have the thing in your garage.
Well,
you know,
look, let's just say it this way: all they're going to say to you, Joe, is taking oil out of the earth is bad for climate change, and then they'll sweep it under the rug like it never happened after everybody's out of the whole industry and it's down to nothing. That's all they'll have to say to explain it away. And then there it goes, swept under the rug. Nobody cares. Oh, it's good for the environment. We're done. Right? They'll come up with a bunch of scientists who will come out and say the same thing, repeater, until we're all heard it until our ears bleed. That's all that's going to happen here. They're just going to move on. And just like he said with the power plants, we're not even going to tell them we're going to do it. We're just going to keep the little nuclear logo on there, and then we're just going to switch out the power. You are none the wiser. And then, hey,
you know, who's to say that hasn't even happened? Who's to say that hasn't even happened? When's the last time you went touring the inner bowels of a power plant? You know? That doesn't mean everyone or, you know, whatever have you, but who's to say that it isn't done somewhere? Yeah, I think that's exactly what it really amounts to, is just, you know, they could take advantage of the situation, which they probably will, because they always do. You know, like Hal Puthoff said, it should be able to pass along much lower prices doing that. However, will they?
Well,
you know, will they?
I got a question for you, Joe. And this is like going into the woo big time. Okay. Are those colliders just basically 0 point energy that they haven't converted yet, that they're just testing out fields on? They say they're running a bunch of scientists. How do we know? I mean, they're literally taking fields and manipulating them in our earth in order to pull the energy in and move it around, and then things die around it. It's classic fields. Once you create them, it causes that. So, I mean, that's a big, I said it's a woo thing. That's a, are they setting up for something else to try to pull like power around the world like the pyramids would?
Yeah, I mean, that could well be. I don't know enough about the technical aspects of that system, but I can make some assumptions like its power source has got to be wildly abundant if you just to be able to run any sort of current whatsoever through a single one of the accelerator arrays that they have is got to be an astronomical sum of energy just to be able to run one, and they have one after the next. So what's producing the power for that? I think that's a good question that like should be such an obvious question to ask, but
Mhm.
I don't know the answer. You know, maybe they have a nuclear power source just like hanging out down there and it's doing its own thing. Or maybe they're doing exactly what they said. But again, that is in the woo because all I could do is speculate.
Yeah, well, they ain't using wind farm or solar panels, that's for sure.
That's for damn sure. I'll tell you that much. Definitely not. No wind farm, no solar panels, and definitely no a conventional like fossil fuel burning power plant to run that thing would have to be like a real extraordinary sight to see. And I don't think it exists there in the middle of Geneva.
No. Well, you know, if they put it up where you are by the falls, then maybe that wouldn't be, you know, a hard stretch to say, hey, they're powering it from there. That might be all right.
Right. I mean, I could see that. Yeah, the falls powered the entire state of New York for a while. I mean, those are some falls, boy.
Yeah.
They're not close to me either, but it is up by me, so I'll give you that.
Considering where I am, it is.
Yeah, it's absolutely up by me considering that. It's still solid 4.5 hours away from me, but yeah.
Oh, well, that's not bad. That's like saying Tahoe's next to me. That's only 15 hours.
Yeah.
Oh man. That's so funny. Oh, you know what? I think a lot of this, Joe, they're really going to have to build a little bit of different infrastructure because once you get past the oil, you got to get into whether it's going to be electric cars or hydrogen cars or something new. Whether they actually do have wireless energy that they want to pull out, like we saw on the History Channel where they took the Tesla coil and ran the boat. If that's going to work like that, if they can make it like your cell phone where it pings it and runs it, I mean, then you never get out of taxes because they're just going to straight take them out of your account. Like there's no running your card for your gas. They just automatically siphon it. You get a little card that's probably virtual, which is hilarious because that's where they're going with it. And it just tells you how many credits you have in the bank. They're no longer.
Unfortunately, listen, dude, you live on another planet because everybody else in the country is getting huge rollbacks and they're going to make it to the point where your state ends up getting wildly sanctioned is what they're going to end up doing. But, you know, they paved their own path over there. So I don't really know. I don't live in a free state either, but I don't think anybody here is trying to fight the fucking carbon emissions and gas consumption deal. There's too much money made off of it, you know, to sit there and have that argument.
Dude, that is a money making machine, that smog thing. Because here's the whole guise of it. Look, first they put something in your tailpipe and tell you what the smog level was, right? Which is all BS. Okay, let's just face it. That was horse, you know what? But now all they do is hook it into the computer system. So if I wanted to reprogram my computer system, I could tell it everything I wanted to tell it, and it's good. All the sensors are good. We're all passing, never a problem. But I can make that thing dirty smog all day. Look, it's ignorant. They're not doing anything. The car companies themselves have regulated that out. There's no use for it anymore. But it's a cash cow. You see, you pay the money, they get the taxes on it. They make money. They get the industry money from everybody who has a smog check place. They pay taxes on it. California makes more money. It's like the biggest one that frustrates me and why people don't get it, I'll never know.
Well, it's seeming like more and more.
No, let me.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were done.
No, let me say this because it really irritates me, Joe. You ever turned in cans and got money?
Yeah.
Okay. California instituted a thing on the can redemption value. So for every can you buy, it's 5 cents that you pay as a deposit for that can till you return it. Here's the thing. When you go down to return it and get your money, you're not getting the value of the aluminum. You're getting the money that you deposited back. Now, where's the loss? I no longer get the aluminum value on top of that. You see, there's the problem. I used to get the aluminum value, and now I only get the money that I deposited for that amount. It's a scam. They screwed me out of my aluminum value. You see what I'm saying? It's a total scam in California. And they keep bringing it to the bank all day long, and people
Well,
think gotta
Any
recycle,
state,
gotta
any
clean
state
the
that
earth.
does deposits does it the same way. So, like, in New York, we have a 5-cent deposit. You're not getting 5 cents plus aluminum scrap,
No.
or even a fraction of aluminum scrap. You're getting 5 cents.
Yeah, you're just getting the deposit back.
Right. Yeah, man, it's crazy. This is how I think it goes with cars, and I think there's a couple things worth saying just to state a solid position.
Okay.
There was a point in time when, before catalytic converters, before ECUs, before unleaded gas, okay, where that was not the best for our environment. Okay. But we addressed these things. We addressed them. Modern combustion engines have wildly low emissions, just utilizing standard ECU tunes and catalytic converters. I think that the future, once they get the price and the sustainability and the maintenance costs and the upfront costs and the range issues worked out with electric vehicles, I think you're going to have a split population at that point, because you're going to have everybody that's practical. So anybody that buys a car for any sort of practical application, aka I get in, my car is what it is, I drive it for what I got it for, and that's it. Any of those people are going to buy an electric car without thinking twice at that point in time. Okay. Then you have everybody else who, wouldn't just drive anything that's practical or good for them. Even, like somebody that gets behind the wheel and enjoys driving, or takes pride in what they're driving. And almost all of those people want a gasoline engine. Almost all of them. Because it's a different visceral experience, and I think that, that was proven pretty well out for various reasons with like the Dodge Charger EV that just came out last year or this year or whatever. They were overpriced, didn't have good range, and it took away from the fact that the thing ain't a Hellcat, nor is it ever going to be. Or even their Scat Pack isn't a Scat Pack like it was, with a 6.4 Hemi in it, like you can't sit there and take people that want a 6.4 Hemi or a 6.2 supercharged Hemi and then tell them, well, this is the electrical equivalent of that, so be happy and like it. Like, because guess what? They didn't sell any. They couldn't give them away. Then they built them like piles of crap because it's Stellantis, and they all got recalled and lemon lawed. Like, they can't do anything at all. The best thing that ever happened, that if Stellantis doesn't go mess it up, the best thing that ever happened to that company is rolling back all these carbon tax credits and emissions and all this back to the old, beyond the old standards, because now they can actually start to make and sell cars again, which they're trying to hop on and do. They're putting Hemis back in these things, but guess what? They haven't sold any cars in like 2.5 years now. None. They don't have any cars. They have no product line. They discontinued their cars.
No, it got worse than that. They had no product line. They have a product line now, but they overcharge the customer, and now they don't want to roll back the prices, so their lots are become parking lots. But to go back to your point, it's like getting instead of a CUDA, you get a Dodge Duster, and you're told to like it, and it's just not the same. I will say this about the.
I mean, listen, a 340 Duster is a pretty nasty bitch, but it's not a CUDA. It's never going to be a CUDA.
Yeah, I'm never going to be a Hayami Kuda. Look. What they need to do is take these electric vehicles, and the day this happens, the world's going to change. Give them to all these rednecks, put them in NHRA, and let them run. And as soon as they find out that the 4-wheel drive is a lot faster than the 2-wheel drive in some instances, not all, in getting track speed in the beginning in that first, couple seconds, that takeoff line, then it may be a competition. But if you don't do that kind of stuff, it's not worth it. You need to peel the rubber, man. And if your little engine over there doesn't do it, it ain't going to appeal to a big audience. So get it in NASCAR, get it in NHRA, get it running down that track. Go to No Prep Kings, man. Run your little electric car. Let's see what you got. Those cars over there rip the giant tires off of those things, man. It's just awesome.
But listen, this could very well be a have your cake and eat it too situation, because you could electrify everything in the world and electrify most of the cars. But then if you just stop suppressing and you endorse the technology that exists, like spend real deal millions of dollars R&D on thunderstorm generator technology, then you could implement this into your vehicles and have no emissions. But they
there you go.
But they need to stop the games. And, rather than looking for straight military contracts on stuff like that, like with the Indian Navy, you need to look like that would have been such a great opportunity potentially for the application of the emissions of that particular system with a Hemi engine, because they didn't have the carbon tax credits to be able to run it anymore, because any emissions was too much emissions for them, But if they could produce something that had no emissions, then the law's sitting there with its pud in its hand at that point, and it doesn't matter, But that wasn't, it didn't bring it any closer to getting it into consumer hands.
Yeah. Well, I think you're going to run into a problem, though, too. You don't want to pull all the oil out of the earth. That's incompetent. Look, it's in there for a reason. I wouldn't want to have all of that out of there, so they're going to have to change the fuel no matter what.
I read an article not too long ago, and I take everything with a grain of salt. It was one article, and I've never seen anything else on the subject, but it was going into how we don't really know where fossil fuels come from, and the article was bringing into question whether or not they're fossil fuels at all, and whether or not it's just simply a byproduct of our mantle and our outer mantle and our inner mantles, torsion interaction of the, elemental composition at that depth that could be the mechanism that produces oil. So it may very well not be any sort of organic anything that it's comprised of in the first place. It may simply be a geological, feature that is renewable, which by the way, doesn't make it any better for the environment. Does not mean that we should go pumping out every last drop. Does not mean that we should, burn it without any sort of consideration for anything around us, or process it without any consideration. But what it does mean is that it may very well not even be what we thought it was in the first place.
What if it's the grease of the earth, and we're pulling out all the grease in the system that's got to move? Wouldn't that suck?
Well, again, I only read the one article. I've never heard anything else about it, so I really can't build on it as to what the implication of that is. It's just interesting to think that for the last 100+ years, we've been dependent on something that we thought was one thing and could very well be something else.
Ooh, here we go. Dielectric fluid. It's widely known.
There you go.
We needed it. Yeah.
So is it going to run out? It might not be. Might not. There's just a whole lot of questions that we don't commonly ask, and that's part of putting the big picture together. That's sort of what it is. It's like connecting those dots between something that happened in '94 and then current events, and seeing like things play out right in front of your eyes. And you're going, this is a little bit too coincidental not to be at all related, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you, when I put the thumbnail together, there's certain pictures of certain people that Hal Puthoff's hanging out with. And if you know anything about the UFO community and stuff like that, these are the players in it. Let me tell you, they've known the answers for a long time. They've been coming on the internet telling you and hinting to you that they had it the whole time. This wasn't a big secret. They would laugh at you because they knew you didn't have it because you used the wrong words all the time. As soon as you walked in and started saying certain things about magnetism or space-time, they just laughed at you. And they literally, every single one of their interviews that they did with everybody, they did the same smirk. They did the same thing to every single buddy, and nobody's picking up on it. They knew where the energy was, and they just laughed and made jokes and called people schmucks. They did everything because they knew you didn't have it. And you weren't even close because you weren't even in the same ballpark. And that's what they did because everybody kept repeating the same line to them. And they kept smiling and telling them, no, you don't have it. And the argument that Captain Jack, or Admiral Jack, I should call him, just love that name, Admiral Jack, had about, oh God, who is he upset about? Sal Paez? It wasn't necessarily a tech question that they were upset. It was a personal thing. It was, they had the same tech. It's funny. It's the same thing. They knew the same answer. And it's the same thing I keep telling you on this show. They understood, just like a nuclear, when it builds in, it builds out.
They're getting tied up in the description of the words that they're using in the descriptions of what they're saying is what it is.
Well, yeah, but when you're an old redneck like me, it just makes sense. You go, well, I know that word, and they mean the same thing. So what do I care? I'm not writing a physics paper. You know what I mean?
All right.
But for those writing a physics paper, it must suck because they're over there jotting down their correct notes on it. You know what I mean? You're not getting the answer that way. You have to build this to see it, to understand it different, because it's kind of completely 180 of what you think it is. It's field compression all the way. So
yeah,
I just found that funny that he hung out with all those people.
That Deadfish, he's saying everyone's saying electric, electric, electric. No one's saying quartz, quartz, quartz.
Oh, they should.
I say quartz, quartz, quartz all the time, but you know, today's less about what I think and more about, you know, more about what we're seeing. You know, it's good sometimes to take a good solid pause, take a look around you, kind of bask in the things that you know and pick up over time, and then see where you are in history, you know, because when you're able to do that, sometimes you're able to see you know, much clearer into the future than you otherwise would be. And that's sort of what I was hoping to get out of today's show. But yeah, we know that crystal structures have much to do with it, whether it's crystal itself or, like we had discussed a couple of weeks ago, potentially crystal analogies, you know, like the lattice structures built up of circuitry that are capable of the same thing. So it's, you know, interesting to keep in mind. And mind you that the development of this stuff was budgetless, you know,
Okay,
not
so
no budget, budgetless.
Check this out. All computer bases ones and zeros, right? But when they made the first recording device, which is like a fax, it was all lines like this, Joe. They're right in lines. So as they hit the button on this side, the electrical motor would move it on this side over here, way down the line, and then it would draw a line and skip certain parts. And they would do that, and they would go back and forth and produce one image to the next image, right? Well, what do you think crystal does? You tap it, it taps back.
Mm-hmm.
It is the same thing. So if you're recording in and taking in permanent information, it taps back and gives it all back to you. I mean, this isn't hard to figure out. This is the first thing you use crystal for because it was put in your watch. I mean, it's a timekeeping device, but it's also, I keep saying this to people, the only reason it has energy is because of the radiation in it. It literally, you compress this thing, it builds out. What does it do? Let's just look at the fact. When you compress quartz, the one thing quartz does is give you energy. Therefore, if you push the field in, it pushes you out. Read a book on quartz. What do they tell you? Quartz is made in radiation. Well, radiation and oxygen, put it to the bank every time. It's exactly how it's done. It's not a difficult sell to understand it in your mind. Hey, if it's built that way, and now you can compress it and get energy out of it in the same manner, you're dealing with the same thing.
All right. I don't want to say that I'm correcting you, but I want to say something a little different than what you said.
Go for it.
Quartz isn't necessarily built like structured out in radiation. Okay, but what quartz always needs is its resonance. So what ends up, the reason that it forms in higher pressure solutions is because by virtue of there being quartz there already, that puts that quartz under pressure, which then throws the solution into resonance, which then precipitates the silica dioxide out of the solution to crystallize in the lattice form. So it's not radiation; it's actually resonant oscillation. But
I'll send you the thing on the radiation.
Yeah, send that to me, because I mean, the radiated quartz is a real thing, but it's different than a pure quartz specimen.
No, I understand it's not completely radiated. It's not the way it works. It's in a radiant field. That's why it can be sitting there on your shelf and do nothing. But then when you compress it, it builds out the same way.
Oh yeah, well no, that's definitely absolutely true. I mean, that's the effect of it. That's the piezoelectric effect that it has. That's what it does, and that's the same mechanism that it uses to build itself out too. Like I said, when it's under pressure and you have a seed crystal, that small seed crystal under pressure creates the field that then precipitates the silica dioxide out of solution. That's in the crystalline structure to continue the crystal growth. And that's what. Yeah. So I guess we're saying the same thing then.
Well,
but I just wouldn't call it radiation. That's all.
Well, it's not pure radiation, not at all. Not in that manner. No, it wouldn't present that way. It present as radiant. So it'd be a very low form of radiation. It's the way that it works that forms a field the same way. And a lot of these things are done on volcanoes, and in volcanoes you have that. So
yep.
You know what I mean? That's kind of the way it works.
Yeah, for sure. I think Michael Merrick said radiation quartz is tan or smoky. Yeah, I mean, well, pure radiated, it depends on what it's radiated with as to the color composition, the ionic composition of the quartz. So like I know, for instance, amethyst is if you have iron ions in the radiation that get infused into the crystal lattice structure that give it the color, and then other elements that could be radiated and ionized into the solution also impact the coloration of the crystal lattice structure without inclusion. That's the important thing, because when you're dealing with natural crystal formation, there's a difference between elemental or particulate inclusion versus irradiation of it, because the ionization that occurs in the crystal growth process could put different attributes, colors, and visual effects and other metaphysical properties right into the crystal lattice structure without actually affecting the crystal lattice structure, because they actually are outliers. So they fall within the crystal lattice structure as opposed to a part of it.
Well, let me ask you this. What happens when you take high voltage, okay, which you're going to get ionization from that, and you compress it and hold it inside of any area? What happens?
It's in a constant state of excitement.
Right, but if it's pressurized in any way, the next thing that starts to happen out of it is you start to get fields. You get X-rays, you get all kinds of nasty stuff. as soon as you do that. So that's all radiation right there when you start compressing it. I mean, think about it. Take a glass bulb, right? Those ones that you used to have in the TVs. As soon as I put high voltage in that and you can see the ionization glow in there, there are X-rays or other kind of radiations coming off of that. They tell you when you start building spark gaps and things like that that are massive voltages, watch out, you're going to get X-rayed. When a couple scientists went to go research something, they used Tesla coils at it, they got nailed with all kinds of X-rays, and then they died at a very early age based on that. It's very well documented. Once you start compressing electricity, you're going to get different fields out of it. So I would, just say this. If you're telling me that there's ionization present, which means there's enough voltage to make it come off of the whatever it's on and start to hiss, then there's some high voltage going on. And if you have compression in that area, you're going to get some radiation.
Oh, I mean, for sure. I think that there's definitely radioactive processes that occur in the depths of the earth, and I think that's pretty much par for the course. I think it's more present than it's not.
Yeah, we just watched the WF files on the God, what was it? Voltage Things Under the Sea. Did you watch that one
Yeah, the
day?
electric rocks,
Yeah, high pressure. They got electricity going on there, so they have compression and voltage going on there, and it starts to build these things out. I just thought it was neat. So
yeah. No, that is very cool, and that goes to explain a lot too. It's just incredible how they're able to turn the sea into a saltwater battery, but they're billions of years old. So they're maintaining that charge that entire time. There's your forever battery right there.
yeah,
And according to Y-Files, right, the CIA knew about it way before they picked one off up off the ground. The bottom of the sea a couple of years ago. They've known about it for 40 years.
yeah.
But some things are better left untouched.
Yeah, but if they're telling you the stuff that they're made of, they're pretty much made of some of the batteries that we're getting out. So they must have known the technology, put it out there, invested in those companies, got rich, and used it to fund all their different operations around the world. I mean, it's pretty clear if you look at what they looked at and what they researched versus, where all the money is. I mean, sorry, it all fits. When you start telling me that the exact composition matches battery composition, then, well, yeah, we got a problem here, buddy. We know what you did. We can connect those dots. You don't have to say it. You don't have to acknowledge it, but we got it.
Well, there's other fascinating stuff that came to mind too when we were talking about the Kashmir effect and the plates before, and how you don't really need plates to do it. But suppose plates for a second. Hal Puthoff back in '94 was talking about one of the difficulties being maintaining the spacing between the plates,
That's what I mean.
as one of the critical factors. But the fact is that, with being able to lay down a layer of graphene 1 atom thick on either side of the plates, you could sit there and have them at that super close level without them ever actually touching, and still have, such a vast amount of the properties of the metal plates going right through that single layer of atomic structure, that you'd still get the Kashmir effect. So you could basically press them full blown together at that point. They would never come fully together. You would not be able to pull them apart, and you'd be able to sustain a Kashmir effect in a stable fashion, potentially just by using a single atomic layer of graphene.
They were, I think that one Chinese lady, and I'm sorry I don't know her name.
Yeah, I know
she
the
was
one, though.
researching the stuff, but she was doing the cross stuff and how it was going like that. And that was directly in relationship to the capacitors that T.T. Brown was building, which is the same tech as we're talking about here. It's capacitance in a plate, and it's about how to hold in a static field and compress it. Look, you don't need the plates, but the plates are exactly irritating, because if you've ever built this stuff and played with high voltage, the plates are so irritating because they continuously spark over, killing the entire event that you got going on, and you don't want any of that. It's
Nope.
so much easier with the field. So much easier with the field. It's like, I don't know, man, going from the Fred Flintstone cars to a brand new Tesla. It's totally different. Those
Yeah.
plates suck because then you got to get different materials, high K values. Then you have to make sure you layer things properly. And even at that, you're going to get failures because when you're dealing in high voltage like that, they're going to continue to spark over. The less amount of mass you have next to this energy, the better. That's why the field builds out and propagates in the center, not on the
Right.
wires so much. The compression always happens in the center where there are no wires. There is no spark over to happen. It's all compression in there. Sorry. It's
I get
so
it.
much better.
Oh, so in further news,
Go ahead.
Sean had convinced me into buying one of those handheld Tesla coil things that you zap your face with.
Nice. I
Right.
did that a lot.
Yeah, so I mean, I was playing with that, and I mean, it's very simple observations the way that I currently have it because it's just in its stock setup with the tubes, right?
Yeah.
But I did make some interesting observations of it. You know,
Okay.
I mean, one thing right off the bat was that if you like, I had a plastic bottle of water, for instance. The plastic is an insulator,
Okay.
so it'll actually react at below the water line, but not above the water line, and start to discharge.
Really?
Yeah, which I found that was one of the more interesting things that I saw because I was like, this isn't being insulated by this plastic whatsoever, like not in the least. And it goes right to the water. So that was one cool thing. Another cool thing that I did was, and I'd have to set it up to show it or else I'd show it right now, but I have that one coil right where I run the audio signal through. And then I have like a little coil up into the end that's just like a braided copper piece of wire. Okay. And what I found interesting was that braided piece of copper wire is not connected to anything within the coil at all. But when I ran it through the coil, I was able to, discharge it from the wire. So it was going through the insulation and then going into a state of induction through the extra wire and then still sparking over, even though there was many, many feet of wire in between it.
So
And
you just basically put the wire down in a little hole and let it spark out the top? Is that what I'm hearing?
That's exactly it. Yeah. So that was kind of cool. And the breakout on that that was sparking out was a different color because the field flips when you do that. So when you throw it through the coil that is technically in a cancellation phase, and then you bring it back into a spiralitic pattern and then bring it straight, it's actually flipping the it from cold to hot. Because it comes out purple, the same as a Tesla coil, like the spark out from it. But as soon as you did that, it was coming out red, like a regular spark.
Okay.
So that was kind of interesting. And then I was running, and then I have like a quasi, it's not really an orgonite, but it's sort of an orgonite, where like I melted some wax and I threw some ash at the bottom. I threw an S coil at the bottom and had one of the sides of the S coil come up through the wax. Then I took some crushed quartz and threw that on top, and then layered crushed quartz with aluminum foil balls and small snippings of like copper wire. And I just layered it up as best I could. Then I allowed it to cool down the wax, under like quartz singing bowl frequencies. So it played a whole octave of quartz singing bowls in tune with quartz. And I placed the speaker right on top of it, so it was getting the full vibration of it and everything. I let it cure under that circumstance. I had a couple of quartz rocks that I put at the top, poking out the top. And if I hit the quartz rock with it, it'll actually start to fire off onto the copper fragments that are near the surface. So it's getting energy throughout the entire thing, just from running it through a piece of quartz rock. So that was kind of interesting too. It's like kind of making a circuit, so it's nothing wildly impressive, but at the same time, you could actually see the interactions as it's kind of sparking over from one to the next, and it's ultimately making it down to the to that S coil that goes to the bottom.
Do you have fluorescent lights, Joe? Or
I-
just the light came with it?
I don't have any fluorescent lights, no,
Mm.
but just but the lights that come with it, I think are argon. I don't think they're neon. I think they're argon.
No, yeah, so they're a little harder to light up.
Mm.
I was just gonna say, man, to give you some bad advice here. Take your take your wire, put it down in the hole, man, shove it into, and then put the other side of the wire into the water. And then if you have a neon light, you put it, or not a neon, but a fluorescent, you put it on the outside of the water there in the water bottle, right? Just on the outside. And
Can I
it'll
just
light
put
up.
can I just put the probe into the water?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I don't see why not.
I'm just saying you don't have to do it with the actual gas.
I mean, there's
tube.
going to be a loss because it's lighting up the gas. It's going to be a loss if I do it that way.
But
you know,
no, but you're missing the thing. You're not using the water as a conductor right there. You're just putting the glass into the water. That's not what I was telling you. You want to put a wire to it so that you can use the water itself as the conductor for the light.
Right.
See the
I mean,
change?
well, I have more than one. I have more than one bulb, so I could try that either way without getting a wire involved.
Again, you're missing what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm listening.
If you want to light up the bulb, just stick it in the hole and call it a day. Okay, what I'm saying is it's like a Tesla coil. When you hook it to the Tesla coil, you can connect that into the water. The water is now excited, so the water becomes the energy source for the light bulb. You know what I mean? Away from your Tesla coil. You should be able to pull a distance off of it with that. So if your Tesla coil is over here, this thing's 3 feet away as your bottle. Now on the opposite side of that, you're going to pull 3 more feet. That's what I'm trying to say.
Do you
That's
want me
the
to
wire.
try this live?
Dude, you can try whatever you
This
want.
sounds like a
live.
really bad fucking idea, is what it sounds like.
Well,
David.
it is because you don't have a fluorescent light bulb. You're trying to excite too much gas.
If I had the needle that Sean sent me, the brass needle that goes in there,
Yeah.
then I would do it, because then whatever. But I think that the distance between the inside socket and the outside socket to whether you're getting hot or cold energy is really dicey on that thing. And for what it's worth, it's not grounded. So I'm just saying there's no ground plug on it. It's only 2 holes, okay? Two prongs for 2 holes.
You know what? I'll do the experiment myself, dude. I'll pull
Yeah.
it out later because I got
All
one
right.
too.
If you do it and you show me, I'll do it too. But-
Okay, because Sean made me get one of those too. He sent me one to zap my face so he could laugh at me when it got zapped.
I'll tell you what, it feels interesting. I can't say I didn't use it because I definitely did.
Did you use the comb one?
Yeah, I did. I don't really need it, but I did.
That thing zapped the living daylights out of my bald skull. It was just like,
Yeah. If you crank it up, man, it's got a little bit of, it stings a little depending on where you put it.
oh man, yeah. Let me see if I can't find that, man, because it's such a long time ago. God, was it funny though? Man, that thing got
Here,
me good.
you go
too.
look for that. I'll pull it out and I'll play with it
Oh yeah, go for
for
it.
a second. Might as well.
Oh, here it
I would
is.
have it right over here.
Okay. My buddy sent me this device right here. I don't know what it's intended for, but I know what it does. Check this out. You turn it on. It's like a little mini Tesla coil. And every time it touches your skin, it zaps you. Oh my. Oh, Joe's got it now. All right.
It turned on my computer monitor. Oh yeah, that's the other thing it does. It likes to turn shit on in my room.
Oh, absolutely. Hold on. Let me remove this, Joe. There you go. Hold on. Oh, there's that spark. Oh.
Well, I'm opening my third eye. Tingly.
Oh my god, dude, that's so awesome. Like you see this little round ball coming up to your head.
I think it fixed my hearing in my right ear. I was like sitting there giving it like a good rub behind my ear and stuff, and I put my headphones in. I'm like, man, I can hear really good.
Oh man, that's just absolutely amazing. That thing is funny, man. I don't care what happens. That thing is funny.
All right, let's shock a funny rock. All right, I got a weird rock.
Let me put you back on solo. Hold on.
Weird rock. Shock. Ah, fuck. Where am I?
Yeah.
Yo, it's going right through the rocket into my hand. It's amplifying it because it's quartz.
Oh, it's even better.
Woo, baby. She cooking.
Oh, I see it go right around it too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Yo, it stinks like ozone. Yo, I love it. Good.
That's so great. Oh,
Yeah.
man. Now you know what I feel like, man, when I start getting shocked by this stuff.
Yeah. Listen, why do you need an orgonite anal, butt plug when you can just shove this up your ass? That's probably what they're doing to Joe Biden right now. Like, oh, let's get that cancer, Joe. Anyway,
Dude, that's so bad because Sean was showing his probe.
It's so bad. Anyway.
I was thinking we'd make Joe model and just make it a butt plug right there, and that's your high voltage probe.
Yeah, hold on.
Oh man. Oh.
Okay, hold on. What we got? We got Jarvis. Who won the weight loss? Well,
We can't say yet.
Yeah, that okay. So let's talk about this though. You have until
We can't
midnight
say too
tonight.
much. Yeah,
Huh?
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, midnight. You'll have till midnight tonight to enter for anybody who hasn't already. Nathan and I, as it stands, we know the results because we did our final weigh-in this morning.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do a special show that is probably not going to have anything to do with science at all whatsoever. Next week, we're going to have Ben as a guest. He's going to be hopefully dressed as a wizard. Okay, he's going to assist us in our endeavors. We're going to have a hot wing eating contest. Nathan and I synced up.
I got a picture for it.
Yeah. Oh, there he is. Oh my God. That was before the diet, I hope, bro.
Yeah. Oh. No, dude, you can even see it here. I did a video the other day and I was tempted not to. And you can see, dude, I lost some weight, bro. You know what I mean? You can start to see it.
Hell yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so Nathan and I synced up. We got the same hot sauces. There's one set of hot sauce, which is in a progressive heat increase.
Okay, hold on.
Right.
I'll bring them up, Joe, just so you can.
Yeah, sure.
Oh my God. Okay, so the first ones are probably mild to Joe, and he made sure he killed me with the last one.
Oh yeah. Nathan picked up the set, and it was a good set. It was good, but I said I don't think we're done there. Did yours come yet? By the way.
Not yet. It'll probably be in
Oh.
tomorrow.
Yeah, here I have them right here. Oh,
Okay, hold on. I can't
all
change
right.
my
So
screen.
so this says that this is the Tabanero challenge. Okay. This has original, which is not that spicy, extra hot, which is probably not that spicy for me, but generally spicy. Then you have their triple X hot sauce. And then you have their Dragon's Breath hot pepper hot sauce, which comes with a card that says use extreme caution. Do not drink the incredibly spicy Dragon's Breath hot sauce. Dragon's Breath hot sauce is meant to be consumed in small quantities. Please enjoy responsibly. So that is this set right here. So we'll be doing that.
Nice.
All right. And then, hey, listen, fast delivery for living out in the boonies. I'll tell you that much, man. It was like next day.
Nice.
Then we have Satan's Blood.
Oh. Joe's trying to kill me.
100% extract. Almost 1 million Scoville units. Looks like Satan's Blood, too. Look at that.
So you're trying to kill me. Like, I picked some that are like hot sauces that you might be able to eat. This is not something you can eat. The guy
Well-
on the commercial for it was crying just about. Like,
All
it's
right.
bad.
Well, I told you we're gonna cut it. We have to cut it. Like, we can't have anybody passing away on the show. You know what I mean? Like, but I'll tell you what I regretfully did was I opened it up and I touched the top like this, even though the directions specifically say do not get this on your skin. and I touched the top like that, and then I went like this.
Oh.
And there's holy fuck. Okay, listen. And there's none. Oh my God. And there's none on the top. It's literally almost white. It just has like a little like slick on it.
Oh my God, dude. That's gonna be so bad if your whole mouth's going numb.
I'll tell you what it tastes like though. It tastes like tobacco.
Oh, it's even worse.
I don't know. I kind of like it.
Oh, I'm so gonna die on this channel.
Oh yeah, bro. This is bad.
Yeah.
There wasn't even any on that, and it's a thing. I'm gonna end up getting this all over my hands, just trying to like cautiously close this.
Oh man.
You're fucked.
Dude,
There we go.
oh, thank you.
All right, the
Use it
lid's
for
back on the blood.
skincare.
Ah.
Oh,
Woo,
you're
baby.
dying, aren't you? Should have get
No,
some
I'm
cold
not
water.
dying, but I mean, for me to say that this isn't hot would be a genuine lie.
Oh man, that's so bad. Joe made a fatal error. Yeah, last one caught up to him after like 15 minutes. It got
I
you
didn't really
good.
get enough. See, I'm not putting enough on my tongue for it to get full blown in my saliva and then get all in my shit. So I'm not doing that. There was literally an indiscernible amount on my finger that is causing me current effects.
He said, "Put this on the wand." There you go.
Yeah,
Oh,
yo, limited, bro. I've been eating hot food for the longest time, and I am such an idiot and relentlessly touch all sorts of parts of me with spice hands, and I regret it each and every time. You never get used to it. Okay, you get it in your eye, you got it in your eye. go take a pee, you're gonna know all about it. So I'm just saying,
It's
you
even
go,
worse when
you go
you pee.
pee, that's a bad pee. That's like,
Oh
yeah, try snorting it. Yeah, okay, buddy. You try
no.
snorting it. All right. If you knew what was going on in my mouth right now, like the I'm just happy that it's isolated to where it is, you know?
Yeah, better you than me right now, buddy. I get 1 day of it. That's
Yeah.
it.
That's okay. I'll put this in stuff all, after the fact. Just a little drop.
Jeez.
Definitely tastes tobacco-y though. It's kind of nice.
Oh man, that's so bad, dude. Yeah, dude, this is gonna be bad because I don't. Number one, I generally don't eat wings. Okay, but and it has to do because I have no teeth. But then,
Which is just such an epic layer to all this. I'm just saying. I'm
dude,
just saying. Old man gumming at the wings.
dude, it's gonna be bad because it's there is no teeth barrier to hide anything. It's going straight to your gums and your tongue. So yeah, it's gonna suck bad. And then
All right.
you know,
Well, you better practice your pull method, man, because it with no teeth, you could still like just put them in your mouth and pull it out clean, and whatever.
oh, this is gonna be bad. It's gonna be a joke, dude. I'm gonna get it all over my hands and my eyes, everywhere. My face is gonna be red and on fire, dude. I do have a puke bucket, by the way, that I got.
Oh, jeez,
So,
man.
dude, I don't eat hot sauces. Okay, I really don't. It's not fun for me. So it's gonna be a fun night of laughter.
Word. All right, I'm gonna go wash this off my hands before I forget because I've now been reminded several times and I will forget. So,
Well, go handle it, man. Get some
Yep.
cold water while you're out. Oh man. Oh man. Yeah, I wish I had a spectrum analyzer. I don't. Oh wow. Oh, that's bad, limited. That's really bad. Wow. Dude, this is gonna be epic though. You know what? I will tell you this. It's all in good fun, man. We're having a good time on the show, and Joe and I did lose some good weight on this whole challenge. And I'll be honest with you, I took a day off from it today after I weighed in, and then I got to get back on it tomorrow. It's more of a health thing than it is anything else for me. So I'll have to stick to it, and I think Joe's going to as well for more personal reasons. But for this contest sake, that's it. So. Yeah, really excited about it though. There's a lot of people guessing in there, man. A lot of people got in there and gave their number. So I'm happy, man. We got a lot of people who want that Tesla coil, man. It's going to be awesome. We got a lot more people going to be doing all the testing out there. You know what I mean? We're going to have all kinds of different videos. And I'll say this, guys. If you want me to put your video at the end when I play the music in the credits area, by all means, let me know, and then I'll start putting them in there. You know what I mean, as a compilation or compilation. Sorry, and then that way everybody can check it out. So I'll definitely do that for everybody.
reading through the comments, Deadfish says it's not natural pepper though. It's condensed chemical that makes things hot. Yeah. Well, it's made of natural peppers, but it's still an extract, so it's just a concentrate of capsaicin. So, yes, basically what you're saying is correct. It still does taste like, like a dried smoky chili, though, for what it's worth.
Well, right on, Ken. I appreciate you being here, man. Yeah, we try to make it fun and lighthearted, man, with a little bit of seriousness in there. We do a bunch of testing and stuff on the channels and stuff, and talk about just about everything. So, and then, oh God, we do some stupid stuff, and that's mainly my fault.
Nah, it's definitely mine. Trust me. I watched your show before I was ever on it. I know it's my fault.
Yeah, the describing of people and things like that, that's definitely your fault. That's definitely you. That's not me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all just about, you know what, we get the information out there, we engage the community, we have something interesting to talk about, and then we just act like dumb guys in the garage drinking beer.
Yeah.
That's-
Yeah,
Friday night,
okay,
baby.
we were talking about this right here, Joe, the colors on the fluorescent light.
Oh yeah,
Even
right.
though,
That was cool.
even if the gas doesn't change, you're changing the compression based on the coil that you're putting around it, and the camera's picking that up. That's the
Yeah.
best explanation I can give you.
I mean, the way that I saw it was that, yeah, there was some kind of compression going on, and that compression was ultimately changing the frequency and therefore the color.
There you go.
And that's why it was going in a phase. It was phasing because it's in an expansion and contraction pattern. And as the wavelengths expand, it changes, and then as it compresses, it changes, and it phases one through the next. That's sort of what I was thinking, but like, frankly, I was stunned to see it because I'd never seen that before.
So
Thought that
I
was
went to
very
set
cool.
my camera yesterday, but I was exhausted, so I got like halfway through it, which is bad because it's only a few buttons. But dude, I was dying yesterday after I lit up that glass jar. Dude, not eating and doing that kind of work is like really frustrating because I think I dropped my wrench like 20 times. I have no water in my muscles, nothing, dude. I'm just starving.
Man,
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're saying, man. Like, well, all right, I'm gonna rat you out. Yo, Nathan had a fucking delicious cheeseburger.
Oh yeah,
And it was the most
dude.
epic looking cheeseburger. After he literally weighed himself this morning at like an ungodly hour and was like, now cheeseburger. I was like, you lack of willpower ass son of a bitch. Like literally weighed himself and it was like cheeseburger now, 3 o'clock in the morning. It wasn't 3 o'clock in the morning my time. It was like what, 5 or 6. I was like, dude, what are you doing?
Dude, I got willpower, but look, dude, after a week of dreaming of this thing and like you could see the fat melting off of it and stuff in your head, I'm sorry, dude. It was like I knew weigh-in day and I told you I was going scorched earth, right? So I literally dropped 9 pounds in 3 days, okay, to get to my number. I'm like, we're going for it, dude.
You're giving away
fasted.
too much information. This
Okay.
contest is still open.
All right. Well, I'm just saying, I did my job. Okay. So I needed a big fat cheeseburger.
I don't blame you, bro. I'm still in it, regardless, competition or not.
Well, that's what I was saying. I mean, look, I took the one day for myself and then I go back to walking on the track and dieting because I don't have a choice. The doctor said, no matter what you do, here's the list of foods you can't eat anymore because they swell your body. So you are done with all those and you have to get this much exercise. So it's like, for me, it's like checking boxes every day. I got to get it done.
Yeah. Cheesefish wanted to know if it was 3 weeks or one. We saw your guess in there. It is 3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
And this isn't directed at you, but just directed generally. I strongly recommend, that people do not change. You can up until tomorrow, but I strongly recommend that nobody in there change their guess because there are people that are extraordinarily close,
Mm-hmm.
and it would suck ass to change your guess if you were the person that was extraordinarily close.
Oh, yeah.
So that is just like, heed that warning.
Do what you want with it, man. Look.
Do as you may. Not directed at anybody, dead fish, but, don't change your fucking guesses.
Yeah, whatever. Dude, I'm just excited. We both did good. So
Yeah, man. No, we did. And I'm gonna continue to do good because I'm not there yet. So
How Well, I can't even ask you this. I'll just have to wait till the show when I'm dying with fire breath to ask you these questions.
Yeah. No,
Um,
no, I still, I can't reach your goal in 3 weeks. It's impractical. I was a fat mess. If it was the easiest 3 weeks of suffering for anybody to go from fat mess to not fat mess, like, trust
oh
me,
well, then yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
right? It's going to be a little longer, but 3 weeks was a good time frame for the contest. So that was.
I mean, look, most people like 6 months is their plan. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
6
it ain't
months
gonna
to a
take me no
year.
fucking 6 months. That's for sure.
Well, yeah,
No
but
way.
I'm just saying, most people it's a dietary change. They're not like hardcore. Let's go eat a bunch of cabbage type of people. You know what I mean?
Yep, I did that for a long time. That was fun.
Oh, yeah. All right, man.
Yeah.
That's enough of that weight loss stuff. We'll deal with that later. But that cheeseburger was really good, Joe. I'm gonna rub that in. That thing was just like, dude, the patty. Oh,
That was one of the best looking cheeseburgers I've ever seen in my life, and that's why it was worth mentioning. I needed to rat you out because it was so nice. Limited State says, "Got to turn those dad bods into father figures." Yeah, that's funny, man. That's a pun right there. But I'll tell you what's actually funny. I saw a flyer for like one of the local places by me, and they're literally having a dad bod contest in like 2 weeks. I'm like, I think I could hang on to this dad bod for like 2 weeks. That sounds like fun.
you get up there and start dancing on the stage.
Yeah, yo, man, I'm a total moron like that. You know it.
That's great, man. That's hilarious. Oh,
Yeah, I'd never seen anything like that. The flyer was hilarious too. It was like a fat dude with a beard, like it was like, you know what I mean? And they have it on ladies' night, so all the better, you know.
oh yeah. Limited says he's got that. Limited is over there skinny, man. Says he does a bunch of push-ups every day and sit-ups. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not. That was
He can win that competition. Hell yeah, brother.
yeah, dude. That was a long time ago for me, bro. That was like high school days. No, that's not true. It wasn't till was it like 4 years ago that I gained weight, and it all had to do. I was going through some health things. Nothing to do with anything else. The whole rest of the time, dude, I was pulling soda pallets and doing things like that all day, dude, stocking store shelves. So I was in shape for all that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, for what it's worth, the whole reason that I went for this is because, I'm like single, It's like I'm single, I'm not that bad looking, I'm kind of smart. Like I might as well not be fat. Like that way I could be all right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Do all right.
Yeah, you do all right, man. Well, you see, you got it all right. You're not that far out. If it was just like, hey, Nathan, you have to do 60 pounds and then that's it, I'd be like, well, that's not so bad. But when you add up the numbers that I racked on the scale, it was 135 or 140 pounds that had to go away. So whatever I got,
no, listen, I hear
a little
that.
bit.
Yeah, no, I have to cut myself off way before those types of figures go up, man. I just wouldn't be able to.
I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, good on you for doing it.
Yeah.
All right. In other news,
right on, yeah. Oh, let's see. 8% body fat. Man, I don't kilograms. I don't know what those are, but
that was legitimately a rule that I made in the contest. I was like, if you put your guess up in kilograms, I'm banning you from the chat.
Joe doesn't know what kilograms are.
No. we're only breaking chops. It's just obviously the imperial system is far superior to the metric system, so obviously.
Oh my god, he says okay, 150 pounds. All right. Well, you look skinny in your picture, so I believe that. Yeah, if I told you I was 150 pounds, man, you'd never believe it unless I was 4'2" or something.
Yeah,
Because I
right.
don't. Look
There's
like a
150 pounds on camera right now for you. Oh shit.
Oh, it's so bad, dude. No, dude, it's when you get old, man, and getting in these problems that you get like a section, like your top half is okay, like a part of it, and then the middle is just horrifyingly bad, and then your legs are okay. You know what I mean? So you end up looking like this disproportional mess before it's all over.
Yep.
Like literally, dude, I'm walking around, I still got a gun on me, and then my pants are falling off, and I'm like, dude, like what?
Yo, that's because we both suffer from white guy. Yo, we have no ass to keep our pants up. There's nothing for it to like latch onto. You know what I mean? Like that's what your waist is supposed to be for. But what happens when your waist is bigger than when you're tapered like this? That's like pants fall down all day city. You know, you need suspenders at that point. You know, it's
You're
ridiculous.
like an ice cream cone.
Right, exactly. Right, but like an ice cream cone. The only white people that don't have that problem for the most part is like Jewish men. For whatever reason. Don't ask me why.
We have the muffin top body.
There you go.
Oh,
Anyway, hopefully not for long.
oh man, that's so funny. You said triangle butt. Oh man. Hey, you gotta work with what you got, man.
Well, it was funny. I used to be married to a Dominican, right? So I always said it was like, her and I, it's like if I was doing a handstand, then we'd be the same person.
Oh, God. That's not right.
Anyway,
I'm staying out of that.
she watches sometimes, so if she catches that one.
Wow.
Anyway.
Yeah, not going there. Oh. Oh man.
Yeah, so I might try to make it back out to the mine maybe this weekend. We'll see how that goes.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Are you going back to the big mine or what?
I'm thinking about the big mine. Really it's depending on a few different things that are out of my control. So see how it goes. But if I make it back out to the big mine, I'll bring the camera with me the same time. I'll make sure that it's charged up. Maybe we'll even do 2 parts if my phone dies, that sort of thing. If I make it to the small mine, then so be it. But I'll take video. I'm really, really subject to the weather. It's been raining for over 3 weeks straight.
Oh.
So it's, takes like that little extra push out of me to want to have to crawl into a mud pit and dig. So
Well,
see how it goes.
California's rainy season's over, man. It's gonna be like just roasting hot out here. Like kind of put the egg on the street and it'll cook itself. Yeah, that's California here in the next few months.
Nice. Yeah, Mike says I got to get a power supply. I probably have one kicking around. I'll look for it. Should be one of those things that I have, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, that'd be good. Well, don't measure the rocks in metric, man.
I'll ban myself from the chat. Is that what's going on?
That's right.
Approximately 3.25 centimeters. It's about 1.25 inches.
I use the metric system all the time on the Fusion. You know what I mean? When I do stuff. And I can't tolerate it on my tape measure. I have to use the inches system. So, you know what I mean? I go back and forth, and I guess it doesn't bother me. It's just numbers to me. But it does when it comes to my tape measure because I'm so used to that thing, dude, just having it on my hip, whipping it out. You know what I mean? Take measure, hit it, and go. I don't know what I would do. I'd probably stare at it for 10 minutes if it was metric. I literally would. But
Yeah.
when it's on the computer, it's not a problem.
All right. One more Tesla, handheld Tesla coil experiment.
Nice.
I have it out because I just thought of it. I should probably blast that nice quartz rock that I got from the mine since we were talking about the mine.
Oh, is it the
Two
the
of them.
skinny
One of
blue
them's
one?
wrapped in wire.
Is that skinny one, blue one, have any reactions to that?
Oh, I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Well, okay.
Let's do this one first.
All right, let me put you on there. Okay. Oh, there you go. Oh, we got your thumb.
Yeah, it's getting my thumb. It's getting my finger. Okay. Let's not see about not doing that. See if I can do this. Oh, it's
You can
getting it.
hear You
Charge,
can't really
baby.
see it very much.
Take it.
You can see a little reflective light on the bottom, but I don't think it's.
No, it's not going through it. Something was. Oh, it's arcing to my hand now, but I don't know if it's from.
No, we see it arcing through your hand.
Okay. Well, my left foot is numb.
Oh,
I don't know if that's part of it.
it's getting your nerves.
All right. All right. So nothing's too much there.
No, but you're getting a reflection of the glow of the light in the crystal.
All right. This is going to be way worse for me and everything because this
Oh.
one's wrapped in wire.
Oh, well, look at you go.
That's not coming into my hand, I don't think. I mean, it definitely is, but I don't feel it.
What kind of wire is it?
Silver plated copper.
Oh, that sounded worse than it was.
Cool.
Did it zap the water, Joe? Well, hold on. You got that big that slice of that one you had.
Yep. Let's find that. Whoa, okay. It's getting my hand, but let's do it this way. Very minimal. All right, want me to get some water?
Yeah.
All right, give me a sec.
Yeah, man, that's just so cool. I like this stuff. Zapping everything. See, I do that in my garage all the time. If it's literally next to me and it's in grabbing distance, I'm gonna zap it. So I trained myself to put my drink and everything far away because I literally will zap everything around me when I get those things going, man.
All right.
All right,
I
ready?
did not read the directions to this, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it probably says not to do this.
Yeah, oh no, it says that.
Godspeed. Oh, it's like close and it's going.
Can't see
Oh,
it
it's
yet.
arcing
there
right
it
into the
goes.
water. Not even touching it, it's arcing. Now it's in.
That's cool.
Oh, the ozone is cooking off this thing at the moment.
Oh, I bet you're heating that gas pretty good, man. You notice it changes color as you put it in the water, right?
Yeah. Well, it gets brighter when it starts to discharge.
That's so cool. It just looks like a hot piece of metal in water.
It does. Now it's wet, so I don't know how that goes. Oh, now let's touch me with wet.
Is it acting as an insulator or is it still zapping you?
It is acting as an insulator because it's still zapping me, but it's at a further distance than it was that it's arcing. Still arcing though. And dry it out a bit.
I don't know how they even thought this thing was safe.
I don't
who
know,
comes
man.
up with
Like
this?
I'm not certain as to how safe it is or isn't, but here it is.
I love that thing, man. Oh, let me tell you, Joe. Once you put the pin in it, it's going to give you a little bit more.
I figure, yeah. I didn't get the pin yet. The pin almost cost as much as the damn thing.
Oh, it does.
Do I get to drink the water now?
Yeah, ionized water. Oh man,
It tastes different.
it does.
Yeah. It tastes less chlorinated than it previously did.
Wow.
Has a little undertone of ozone. Smells very fresh. like because of ozone.
Oh man, as long as it's not like
There it is.
Brennan's, as long as it's not like Brennan's chicken with that microwave, man, that was bad. Experiments remind me of that now, of the chicken in the microwave, dude. It's just awful.
Oh, dude, that's so bad.
I don't know how
Brandon,
you ate that thing, dude.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
I don't know.
my dog wants to play.
Yeah,
A little
yeah.
bit.
That he likes to do that. Right, buddy? Yeah, I know.
Yeah, structured water.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking, but I don't know. I don't know what frequency it runs at, but I think Brandon seemed to think that it was running at something like maybe 120 or 240, which probably isn't the most helpful frequency, frankly.
You know, I'll check it when I run mine and see if it's the same. It looks the same, except for mine are purple and yours got orange on the color.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure yours are neon and mine are argon.
Mm. It
Yeah,
would
they
have been nice, man.
Yeah.
I want to get the gas tubes, is what I was looking at.
Mhm.
And then I'm trying to find small fluorescents because I want to be able to stick one next to a Tesla coil when I do the 3D print and just move the Tesla coil across the room and I'll see it from across the room lit up. And then, or put a halo light, just the round one above the Tesla coil as part of the Tesla coil so that I can get I don't know what's going on with my camera, so that I can get the actual value of them both together in resonance to another coil.
right.
You know what I mean? So kind of working on those. And one of the other things I wanted to do with the light bulb as you walk by, just set it up above the door. And then as soon as you walk by that Tesla coil, your body capacitance turns it on. Because remember, Liz was saying that hallways like that.
Right.
So I wanted to recreate that and see if I can't do that with a couple doorways as you walk through. I think
That would be very, very cool. A motion sensorless motion sensor light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta get that done. So yeah. Be a lot of work, a lot of math. So oh wow. Okay. Mom got a drama wand. Oh. They have kits on that, Joe, by the way. Old time kits. And they look like something like in a briefcase, and they got like a ton of those wands in there. I see them all the time, man, and they zap the living daylights out of you. So I don't think those are as regulated as the one you got.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I think whatever Sean had in mind was taking it apart, doing a couple things to it, and then putting it back together.
Yeah,
I'll have to see what he has in mind, but you know,
you have to cut off the top half of it, and then you can get to the part where you can put in the little pin.
yeah. All right. Well, we'll see how far I get in that. For now, I'll just enjoy it for exactly what it is until I get to that point. Jarvis, may I invite you as a guest with a live stream? Yeah, I mean, of course you could invite me. You just did. You tell me what you have in mind, brother. You know how to get in touch with me.
Right on.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, dude, I can't wait. Next week's gonna be fun, man. We're gonna burn our faces off.
After this, no problem.
Oh, what's the live stream after this? Right on. Cool. Ah, man. Like I said, it's gonna be fun next week, man. I'm gonna hate life because I gotta take going back on the diet, then getting to eat wings. So I have to balance that morning before we eat the wings, so I don't have an empty stomach on vile, nasty hot sauce. So, yeah. I'm going to actually have to probably eat bread that morning, which I haven't eaten besides that burger I ate today, bread in a long time. I don't
Yep.
usually eat it. So, it's alive. Nice. All right, let me find that thing real quick, Joe, while we're still talking, and just give me a second. I need to pull up the contest thing so I can give a link to it. Okay.
Well, while you're doing that, I figured I just looked over at my bookshelf, and you know, I love this particular book so much that I just want to always plug it. So I'm going to.
Okay.
I very strongly recommend that everybody here get and read this book. It is inexpensive on Amazon and will be to your door the next day. But it is Stalking the Wild Pendulum by Isaac Bentov. Okay, and he's got other titles too, but this is a very good place to start. And what I like about this book is his approach to explaining things in a very articulate and descriptive manner is all in plain English. And he uses funny pictures and diagrams and examples to explain his processes of understanding. And the nature of the book is on the mechanics of consciousness. But what you'll find is that you learn about every aspect of physics because it's all contained within this book. So I
Nice.
very strongly recommend that if you haven't read it, to read it. At worst, it's going to reinforce stuff that you already know. And it's just an entertaining read, you know. So it'll also likely teach you something about yourself, which is super interesting too. I like that. So he's
Nice.
dead. Nobody's getting anything from it. Just buy the book because it's proper information, you know.
Very good. Love that. Well, let me just show this real quick, Joe. We were talking earlier, and I want to make sure that we show it. This was the light with the wire wrapped around it,
Yeah.
and it changes color based on the speed of your camera. Well, that's not the reason, but that's how you find it and see it. Nope, sorry, can't play music. Look at all those colors.
Yeah, that's like no joke, you know. That's like apparent. That's not like some kind of subtle variation. That's just, it looks like straight phasing coherence.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, it is neat.
I like that coil too. So hold on, let me pause it. Take a look at that coil. He's got two different colors going on it. It's black on the bottom and then pink on the top, man. Looks awesome.
It does look cool.
Hit the pause and see each color. Okay. Hold on.
Yeah, make it full screen.
I think that's as big as I can get it. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Just give me a second. I'm over here trying to pause it in the middle. I'm gonna solo layout this sucker. Yeah, full screen there. There you go. You still hear me, Joe?
Yep.
Okay, good. So we got a pink and a greenish yellow. Ooh, Nice.
That's in a phase change of purple.
yeah. Oh, that's a cool trick. Ooh, there's a blue right there. We got a green going on the bottom. Yeah, you're getting like a full spectrum going on here.
You are. Yeah.
So compressed gas and the one wire energy is just going around it. Man, I thought he had a special light bulb that he bought. I was going to buy the same one. This is even cooler.
Yeah. It's way cooler. It's supposed to do that. It's half as fascinating.
Well,
And
yeah.
at that point, it's like from Spencer Gifts, and that's that.
Yeah. Well, you know,
You
sorry.
pick that up next to the ass jelly and the organized butt plugs. And a mushroom lamp.
Mushroom lamp. Oh man, that's cool. Yeah, those are all the colors. So, how many frames per second did you have to put it in? Or Joe knows camera terms. Is there a better one than that?
No frames per second set.
It's it.
Yeah.
Oh, no LEDs there. Yeah, we knew that.
I mean,
but-
standard is like, 30 is very standard, frame rate. If you're gonna do extended exposure, it goes down to like 20. Less than 20 is very, very butchered. So usually it's like 20, 30, 60. Usually goes in.
he
you know,
said super
double.
slow mo on his Galaxy iPhone. How did you change that? I need to look that up because I got a Galaxy phone, not an iPhone, phone. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, I could show you how to do it. It's not hard.
Oh, okay. Oh, good.
Very cool, Dennis. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it is, dude. That's way awesome. Well, it kind of makes you ask the question then. Okay, all you're doing is changing the amount of energy throughout the spectrum in there, right? But you're hitting the entire light spectrum. So what? Are we just in a compressed gas chamber inside this Earth, and that's all we're doing? I mean, seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, Dennis is pulling out all the tricks that I like to use. Yeah, so if you go and use expert raw video mode, you could change all the individual settings. You could drop the ISOs down very low
Really?
too, which allows for darker settings, and it'll pick up more anomalous light effects at low ISOs. So if you combine a low ISO with a high frame rate, that makes up for the brightness deficit. And then, you could ultimately manually slow the video down to then see the sequencing. So there's tricks you could use. And, that's without even manipulating the video in post and editing, that's just all raw footage stuff.
Joe, sorry, that's cool, and I'm gonna have to learn all that. But I'm stuck on the gas itself, and the way the light propagates because he hit the full spectrum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That means that is gas a wave? Is it a particle? I mean, or is it just an effect based on the other things around it?
Well, the excitation of a gas in where it's going to illuminate turns it into a plasma. So, you know, it's going to act like plasma at that point. So it's, you know, it's hard to say, man. The properties of plasma are kind of elusive because it kind of does what it wants.
Love to see that video again. All right, give me a second. I'll put it right back. I don't know. There's something there to that, Joe, and I don't know exactly where to put my finger on it.
I think it has just as much to do with it's the excitation of the gas, but if the gas normally lights up white, but then you have frequency compression, decompression, then that would cause it to phase through the different wavelengths of coherent light smoothly like that. That's the only guess I could have. I've never seen this occur before. So really, this is the extent of the thought process that's been behind it, is what I'm saying right now.
Mhm.
But just understanding how the bulb ultimately works. You know,
So-
you're exciting the gas, it's white, and how does something that's white contains all the potential to be any color depending on wavelength. So the frequency of the wavelength traveling through the excitation has to be what's changing in order for the color to change.
So are
That's
you
what I-
compressing? Are you compressing it in order to change the wavelength?
I mean, it would be a form of cyclical compression and decompression that would cause that phase. Because right, it's in the same order and it's repeating. So it's a cycle. And the cycle would be a compression and decompression event, which would be the only thing that would be able to change the wavelength. In the same area. That's what I could really make of it. Which would probably be directly correlated to, some type of impedance that's occurring. Like, because what else would cause the compression decompression cycle if not for impedance?
Well, we were talking about the planets being scalar, right? But they also do this. I mean, that layer that's out there protecting
Right.
us is not staying in the same spot. It's going like this. So
Well, right, but cyclical expansion and contraction is cavitation.
okay.
That's by definition what it is.
So it makes our light discussion, is what I'm getting at, is more accurate than we thought it was based on what we're seeing in results and testing.
It would appear.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, I like to see tests like that. I haven't seen anything like that, to be quite honest with you. The first time I've ever seen it. So congrats to you, man. That's hats off.
No, yeah, Dennis, that's an awesome
That's
test.
awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah. People can trip out, man, with some of the different things that come out of this channel. Once people get these Tesla coils up and running, they're going to do more experiments than I can think of. I think that's going to be awesome. I can't wait, man. We got a lot of people out there doing this.
See, that I'm just trying to get down to what the mechanism of that is, though, because that's where my so you have the radiant energy lighting the bulb, and that means that the bulb is falling into some kind of resonance in order for the transmission to occur for the excitation. But that also means that there's now a phase modulation of the internal frequency, meaning that there's something to do with it not being in some kind of perfect resonance, but instead being in some type of standing wave analogous in resonance, because it's not in resonance, or else it would just be one color, because the resonance is suggested of coherence. And coherence would mean that it would be one color, be it whatever that color may be. Okay. The phasing effect of the cavitation means that it's in some kind of stable non-resonance.
Well, let me just say this. Because the rod down the center acts as part of the frequency mechanism, so it'll lower the frequency as you put it in there. It's attached to it. So when you attach the light bulb to it, the light bulb becomes essentially a capacitor to it. So it's in phase with whatever's going on with the coil. So that coil speed, we're probably seeing it in super slow motion, but I bet you we're only seeing part of it. I bet you if you had even a slower camera, you'd catch more of it. You know what I mean?
I'm just trying to get to the mechanism of the expansion and contraction event.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's when the Tesla coil goes in and out. So it has a big value, then a little value, big value, little value, as it goes in and out of oscillation. Okay. Like
Yeah.
this. So
Yeah,
the
okay.
amount of compression on each time is different. You know what I mean? But it'll be consistent.
Right. So if it's different, but if it's different, but in a cycle, then I could see that.
Well, it makes sense because I use a light as a
But
capacitor.
how do you? But
on a
what? How
Tesla
do you?
coil.
But something that's in some form of like difference like that can't fall into pure resonance. That's the point I'm trying, because that's the opposite of pure resonance. Pure resonance is when it falls in sync with it.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think the camera speed is slow enough to catch how far in sync it is. I think we're missing frames. I think that Tesla coil
Well,
is faster
we're
than the
definitely. I
camera
mean, we're
speed.
definitely missing frames. It's not a matter of that. Okay. We need to explore this one a little more before we just sit there and on air speculate about it. We'll have to do some more experimentation, get some more footage of it.
Yeah. Well, as soon as I get up and running, I'll give you plenty of footage. But I will tell you, it's incapacitance to the coil itself. So that part I do know.
Yeah.
Because when I pulled it on another one, I used the light itself to put the coil in resonance. So just kind of a caveat side note, in which I wish I would have a slow motion camera at that point because it would have changed it. Dennis had another one. So let me bring that one up. And he's got a different light bulb on here, Joe. That just looks cool.
Yeah, that looks neat. Is that generally a UV spectrum bulb, Dennis? Or is that just plasma arcing in there?
I think it's just plasma arcing.
Yeah, no
But
shit.
he's got a saw blade in there. He's got a round saw blade. And it's hitting to the breakout points on the saw blade
Yeah.
into the light bulb. I don't think it's coming from, it's into the light bulb in that direction. Yeah, and it looks opposite though.
Yeah, it does.
But I know the power. Where the heck is the power hooked in? Is it hooked into the saw blade or to the light? See, it's upside down. I can't tell.
Oh. Yeah, I can't tell either.
He says it's a 110 volt bulb. Now you're going to put me into more testing here, Dennis. This is interesting. Because I know how the ions are supposed to work. They're supposed to come off the saw blade onto a rounded surface. But there's wires in there as well. So that means that it could be coming from both sides. It looks like it's coming from the light bulb side to the saw blade.
It does look that way. But it could be pulling the excitation that way. Could be reaching a charge at the base, which is upside down, be at the base of the light bulb, which is up, and then arcing down.
It's meeting in the middle. Look in the middle, the exact middle one.
Yeah.
And they're both pulling off the plasma and sucking towards each other.
Yeah, I see that. I definitely see that. This is something I'd like to see in person to really be able to get my head around that, so I could,
Mm-hmm.
get that full experience.
Yeah, he said the same thing. It meets in the middle.
Yeah, it does look that way. Well, there you go. That's a little from column A and a little from column B. That's visualized in that then.
Yeah. Dude, that's just Dennis, hats off to you, man, for doing
Yeah,
all
no, those are very cool experiments. It's the same train of thought and line of thinking that I have when I look at some of Sean's more complex breakout patterns and stuff, because it's not apparent what it's doing at the frame rate that it's captured, and it does seem that it's pulling, ionized air from the atmosphere inward toward it frequently. It appears that way. In fact, definitely have stopped frame at just that right moment where you have a little remnant up still there, and you figure, well, that's because it's dissipated out. It just didn't disappear all the way yet. The answer is no, it just didn't meet in the middle yet, or or arc back. So it's funny. We assume that these things come from from a point of emanation from the power source, but that's not always the case, because of the excitation of the potential in the in the capacitance that it holds in the area.
Well, it's like lightning. It shoots up from the ground and comes from the sky. So
it is,
they meet
yeah.
in the middle. That's what's so fascinating about what's going on here.
Yep.
I wonder if it sees it as an equal value, and that's why it meets in the middle. It's not chasing its tail like it would.
Well, it has to have a destination, and like anything, in the electrical spectrum, it's got to be going somewhere for a purpose. Like it's not arbitrary. It's never arbitrary. There's certain things that it's going to conduct toward. And, a lot of times when you have these high charge states, you're actually pulling the ionization out of the air, and that charge is then creating a path that becomes more attractive for it to arc over to, as opposed to just striking some random spot in the air or striking some random spot in the ground. The same thing happens with the ground with lightning. It pulls up those tendrils from the ground. And then whatever one has the most potential and provides the least resistance, it's going to connect with. So it doesn't have a predetermined path, but it kind of does at the same time, because before it connects, it needs that pull from the other side.
Okay, Jarvis is setting up a live stream. Okay, we'll have to connect with him when we're done.
Yep, we'll link up.
So, yeah, but I think you're right, Joe.
Something.
Yeah.
I never claimed to know. I just guess.
Well, yeah, it's going to change, man, because you're going to be able to see it and then determine it. Because some of this stuff, man, it's hard to know until you see it. Like, God, I want to see that so bad in that camera. You know what I mean? So I can evaluate it and record it and watch it. Yeah. Got to see some of this stuff live. Yeah. Dude, I want to send you a call, Joe, just so I could see you put the thing in the burrito and have your burrito light up to light. Just because I love that test, or like grapes or whatever else you have.
Hey, listen, if you send me a Tesla coil, I'll hook it up to all sorts of food items, and depending on where I am in my journey, will be deterministic of what I end up lighting up.
Nothing inappropriate, I hope.
You never know with me.
Yeah.
I can't make any promises. I won't get you banned. That's the only promise I'll make you.
Oh, wow. That's funny.
Yeah.
He's going to have a glowing butt plug before we know it on the show.
I don't want a butt plug.
So I just have fun teasing you about it. 'Cause, dude, that show was so funny. With 8, man, that was out of control.
Yeah. Limited State says that I immediately put my fleshlight into there. Yeah, well, I grew out of a fleshlight. I've moved on to like the full ass models now.
We're like in the wrong direction.
Great.
completely.
One of them. Yeah.
All right.
Got real
Thank
ass
you.
clapping action there.
I think we're done today.
Huh?
We're
Fair.
off the rails big time now. Hey guys, look. Wow. That's, I don't even want to say it. All right, let me put this link in there again into the chat. Wow.
Talcum Queen, Dennis, you're funny. Yeah, God knows them things get sticky. It wasn't even the sense that you think I said I did.
Oh my God, dude.
Just 'cause
All
it's
right,
so
get your guess in, guys. There's the link. Wow. Oh, we're all in trouble now.
yeah.
All right, Joe. Thank you for hanging out with me, man. This is awesome. So,
Awesome, man. Yo, peace and love, everybody. Have a good weekend.
oh man, we're out of here. Later.
The old man Bill. The old man Bill. The old man Bill. The old man Bill. The old man builds is broken in the head. People not seeing reality has put them in the red. Where conscious and spirituality restricted from the norm and replaced with the ignorance of basic magnetic form. The geometry of God keeps running through his head. That's what makes old man builds broken in the head. The old man builds. The old man builds. Spheres of destiny are spinning in his mind, making him travel back and forth in time, battling the establishment for just a little recognition. Has him forcing the world to understand his premonition. That world will have all the technology in the end, even if it means his life will fail to extend. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds. Fears of destiny are spinning in his mind, making him travel back and forth in time, battling the establishment for just a little recognition. Has him forcing the world to understand his premonition. That world will have all the technology in the end, even if it means his life will fail to extend. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds. Fears of destiny are spinning in his mind, making him travel back and forth in time, battling the establishment for just a little recognition. Has him forcing the world to understand his premonition. That world will have all the technology in the end, even if it means his life will fail to extend. The old man builds.